Alrighty, folks, we'll go ahead and get ourselves moving and grooving, get ourselves started. Like I said, I don't want to keep you here any longer than we need to. Just want to make sure, did everybody get a copy of the fridge notes? Good, 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 good. So I call fridge notes. My mom was the type that has 5,000 magnets to everyone on the fridge. So put them wherever you will see them. They're meant to be helpful. The literacy support side is just a bit of a recap. 2 weeks ago, we talked a little bit about literacy support, building some of the reading at home. So these are just those tips again. The math support side we'll talk for today. And then this way you got them at home. I know sometimes it's hard to think about the questions you want to ask and everything. So I thought I'd make a little cheat sheet, help make it a little easier. Let's go ahead and get through all of our background info stuff. We are hosted today, as always, Principal Santos and Vice Principal Dr. Rocca. You've got me, Ms. Baker. I'm our teacher on special assignment. Ms. Vinos is our school psychologist. Ms. Precious is our office manager. And of course, Ms. Amber, our teacher librarian. Yeah, I'm up here talking, but trust me, there's a team of people out here. They make it work. All right, agenda as normal. We signed in, we're refreshing on things. We'll have a little discussion, do our activities. Ms. Painter. Norms, expectations. We know the drill. Be respectful, be kind. Limit your cell phone usage. If you need to step outside, handle your business, go for it. I get it. We got life going on. If there are concerns, complaints, criticisms, please come talk to me. Let me know. Or we can schedule something with admin if you need. We can talk to people in front office. All right. Y'all are here enough. You know the drill by now. I say it because I have to. Our mission statement as a school, we want a truly equity-centered environment. Every student gets the support and guidance to rise to their greatest potential. We want them to be successful. That's our goals here at Phoenix Elementary. Okay, the vision, we want our students to be empowered. We want them to have that power, the ability to have knowledge, strategies, tools, confidence, so that they can excel wherever they're going. We're glad to be here. All right, so I realized I was handed Parent Lab. I walked in, I started talking at you. I've been talking at you for 6 months now. Y'all probably don't know anything about me. So hi, I'm Miss Baker. Here's a little bit of my academic background for you. I took Algebra 1 in 7th grade. I took AP Calculus AB and AP Calculus BC. That's 2 years of calculus in high school. I was a very, very proud member of our math club. I got to go to Berkeley, UC Berkeley, to do some math competitions. I took first place academic decathlon in the math category for all of Fresno County. I have an associate's degree in math. I am the Dean's Medallion recipient for Fresno City College's College of Math. Okay, my credentials in math, I spent 6 years teaching it. All of this to tell you, right? I really like math. I really, really like math. I love math. I am passionate about it. It is quite clearly the heart of my educational career and everything that I do. And why it's so important for me to be up here and bragging just a little bit about, all of my mathematical experience and whatever. Here's why I love math the way that I do, though. Okay, don't get me wrong, my teachers were great. Tell you about a couple of them up there. I had some teachers starting fires. They were throwing Barbies off the roof. We were doing all kinds of weird experiments. But the number one reason why I love math the way that I love math is my mama. And you can see my little grandma behind in the back there too. Okay, that's why I love math the way I love math, is the work that she did with me at home. And yeah, she'd print, little worksheets out or buy me a little, coloring book with some stuff in it. She did that too, but it was the talking, the conversations, the questions, the time that we spent together, mathematically thinking together, not doing problems, not doing homework necessarily. Okay, so that's what I'm going to get into today, is how you can actually enjoy the everyday math that we're doing with your kiddo. That way it's not crying at the dining table while you're like, what? Okay, we all have the homework trauma. I want to avoid that, right? Welcome, welcome. We are so, so glad you are here. Super, super glad you are here today. Yes. So I want to start with y'all. Take a look. Do you own any of these? Do you got any of these at home? If you've got one at home, you can stick your hand up. You got at least one of these at home. Hey, look at all of this. Guess what? Here's the secret, team. Here's the secret. You're already doing math at home. If you own any of these things, you're already doing your math. Clock, obviously, we're measuring time. Okay, your clock, let me tell you, if you can work with one of the old school clocks, that is one of the best ways to get them to understand fractions. I really like fractions. That is the heart of 7th grade math. Okay, kiddo's going to hit 7th grade math and they are going to get all kinds of fractions put on them. So your clock, your half hour, quarter hour, all of that, Jack, those are fractions. And that circle is so perfect for breaking it down. Coins, we're measuring money. We're talking about value. Secretly, those are variables. When you're thinking about money, I got 10 dimes and 2 quarters, 10D plus 2Q. Those are variables. That's algebra. Bam. Okay, cooking. I'm just putting both up there. We already know if you've got half a cup, a quarter cup, we're following recipes. Now you're adding fractions together in the bowl. Okay, your scale, you can weigh things. We don't need to talk about like our weight. We don't need to talk about kiddo's weight, right? Put your dog on the scale. I love doing that. I got a big dog, I got a little dog, and I'll give them a scoop up and see what they'll hop on the scale with them, right? See what they weigh. How much does your backpack weigh, right? We can start looking at these values and these measurements. The Instapot or a crock pot or a rice cooker, beginning to ratios, beginning to fractions. Anybody make rice at home? Yeah, what's your little recipe? What do you do? Rice and water even?
Well, and the rice.
Yep. There you go. So that's 1-to-1 ratio in your rice cooker right there. And what if you added a little more water? You're going to have to make it cook a little bit longer, right? All of these things, basic foundational math skills. I know you're looking at me like you're crazy because you're like, Miss Baker, there's no multiplication in that. There is. It's hidden in there. But you don't need to be the experts. You don't need to sit there with them and make them do the algebra and make them do the calculus. You just got to get them thinking and talking. That's the fun part. All right, so we are already doing math at home, everybody. If you got any one of these, and we all admitted we do. In fact, that is my mom. And let me tell you, when I do my Fabuloso and my water combo, when I got to mop my floor, right? I got about a quarter of it is going to be my Fabuloso, and about 3/4 of it's going to be my water. You're doing fractions, and you don't even know it, right? Welcome. Got some new people popping in online. Yep, different crock pot, different mop, same stuff. So this was the heart of my teaching. When I would be teaching with kiddos, I always called it good enough math. Okay, yes, we do want you to of course, as the math teacher, I want them to be able to sit down with a piece of paper and show all their work and do all that equations and everything else. You don't need them to do that, right? You don't need to grade their homework. We're going to be here for good enough math, okay? We're going to do our spatial reasoning. Think we're good? Okay, so we're looking at spatial reasoning. This is a big one for kiddos. Huge help when they get to geometry. Huge help when it comes to real life. Okay, spatial reasoning is your ability to imagine something in your brain and be able to do stuff with it in your brain. Okay, so when I'm sitting on my couch and I'm getting frustrated with my living room, like, I need to rearrange things. I need to move some things around. Okay, some people have to move their couch and like look at it. And oh, no, it's not going to fit. But I had to move it to see that, right? Now, some people can look at that couch and go, I think the couch is too big for that space. And don't even need to touch it, right? That's your spatial reasoning skills. Being able to look at that couch, move it around your living room, all inside your brain, okay? I like explaining it. I used to love those little tiny teddy bears. Does anybody remember using little manipulatives like that in school? I remember them being teddy bears or blocks, little things like that. So the spatial reasoning is what lets the kids go from, I have a real teddy bear. I have a teddy bear. I have to count it, right? They get to imagine those teddy bears. They can see those teddy bears in their brain. They can sort the groups themselves, all that jazz. And they don't have to do it right in front of them anymore. Second thing we want to work on with our good enough math is estimating. How many of you at the grocery store actually sit there and go, okay, this was 542, so I got to add 542, and this was 623, so I got to add the. Are you using your exact numbers, or how many of you are going, it's about $5? About $6. Okay, I'm at about $11. Let's make it $12 for tax. And you know, you've got 15 in your pocket, so it's good enough. You're good. That's estimation, okay? This is going to be what helps your kiddo know if they're getting right answers or not. Because if they can go, okay, it's about $5, it's about $6, I'm gonna put it together, it's about $11 altogether, then they know when they add up 460 and 530, they should get something about 11. And if they're getting 110, they can tell they made a mistake somewhere, okay? So estimation is great. In fact, there is something inside of your brain, and not just your brain. Fun fact, animals do this. The approximate number system inside of your brain, inside of your bodies, we know what more is and we know what less is before we know what anything else is, right? Think about your little toddlers. Think about your dogs, okay? Think about all the way down, fish recognize it, critters. I know he got more than me. I know I got less than him. Those kinds of things we can recognize, talking about more and less and bigger and smaller. Huge, 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 huge. The last one that most of us don't even think of as actually math is pattern recognition. Okay, are you ready? What song is that? You know it. What is it? There we go, right? Chorus right there. You hear that? Right? That's a pattern you know. Music runs off math. You want your kids to understand music? You want your kids to understand math? Use that connection point. Think about the patterns you're hearing, right? We snap to the beat. I know it's silly, okay? I'm like old dad dancing here, but this, as silly as it is, lets you pick up on those patterns, all of that, okay? Questions, comments, concerns about any of this? I know I gave you the big like teacher side of things dumb. My big thing though, good enough math. Get them to talk about it. Get them to think about it. Get them to play with their numbers, right? Your job is to make learning fun. Our job is to make it sink in deep and make sure we're giving them the tests and everything else, right? So we're going to get into actual suggestions now, ways that y'all can do math with them. Before they run, they walk. Before they calculate, they count. Just get them counting. Anything, everything. I'd sit there and I would count my fingers. When I was nervous, that was one my mom taught me. She said, you can look at your hands and you can count your fingers. Make sure they're all there. Helped me when I was a little bit anxious, but it also helps you with your counting. So have them count, right? And most of the slides are going to be lists of questions for you, just to really help you start thinking. If this is not a way that you normally talk with your kiddos, this is going to help us build that, right? How many apples are on the counter? How many laundry pods are left? How many clean towels in the closet? How many bibs does your brother have? How many eggs are in the fridge? How much money is left on the count? All of these things. Have them count for you. Find reasons for them to count. Because then you get to give them the opportunity to discover addition and subtraction, okay? My favorite math teacher used to say math people are lazy. That's why we started inventing, you know, multiplying and all of that. It's because we wanted to get through it faster. So if they okay, sorry about that. So this gives them the opportunity to start discovering addition and subtraction, okay? You do not need to sit there and cry with them at the table trying to memorize those times tables, all right? What you can do is ask them to count things, and eventually they're going to be like, dang, I don't want to count 112 M&Ms, Mom. And they're going to put them into groups, and they're going to start counting by the groups, and then we get into skip counting, which then builds into your multiplication tables, okay? But the big thing, have them count. And you can build off that without ever getting into hard math. our recipe is going to make us 6 cookies. So what if we make cookies for us and what if we make cookies for grandma? How many cookies is that going to be all together? And they could go, ooh, okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And they could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 12. Well, there's addition. Great. Or they could go, well, I got 6 and I got 6. And I know the last time I had 6 and I counted 6 more, I got 12. So 2 6s seems to make 12. Boom, they just discovered multiplication. Okay? The big thing is we want them thinking, we want them talking. So asking them the questions. That's it. We don't even have to necessarily be at the right answers. If we are thinking and we are talking, you just keep asking them, why do you think that? Oh, okay, that's how you got that answer? Okay, well, what if you did something else, right? You just keep talking with them. Keep that conversation going. Now, I love this slide. I will not make you listen to the whole thing, but I did give you the QR code for it. Okay, I'm going to combo a couple of our lessons here. Number 1, a few weeks ago, we talked about, oh, well, I don't remember Miss Amber's beautiful phrasing, but like, keeping an eye on the tech your kids are using. So you can totally pick the music you're listening to in the car. And if we're going to be listening to kids' songs that are so much fun, we can at least choose the educational ones. So I'm not making us listen to the whole thing, but we're going to listen to a little bit of it.
One more 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20.
They get stuck in your head.
6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20.
And probably I love it there. High school, college rap. I still think because being stuck in my bed is stuck in my head.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14.
Good, we all know how to count by 2, right? So that link is 20 minutes of those songs. If you hate the one that I put up there, fine. There's so many on YouTube. But the big thing I want to remind y'all is you have the power to choose. And my favorite place to do it is the car. They're strapped in the back seat. You get to put what you want in the radio. Make it educational. Okay? Getting those stuck in your head. If they can do their skip counting, that is their times tables. If they have their times tables down pat, like I could have begged every single parent, build a time machine, go back, make sure your kid knows your times tables. That is what's going to give them the easiest time moving forward in their math. That's one of those foundational things that if they're getting stuck there, that's going to make everything harder down the line. Okay? Skip counting, great. I recommend it. I can find you more versions of those songs if we are not fans of that iteration, but I highly recommend it. Even for your bigger kids, even for you, they'll get stuck in your brain, and then you'll be really good at multiplying too. Okay? Another suggestion that we can use, just going in line with our questioning, things that we can think about, things that we can do easily. How long does it take? Okay, let me tell you, I took 5th grade on a field trip today. Okay, took 5th grade. They were great. They were wonderful. I love them. They all get squirrely towards the end. You sit still long enough, everybody gets a little antsy. Hey, y'all want to run a race? Immediately. They were on that line at attention, standing still. They were ready, okay? So how long does it take you to run to the mailbox and back? Use your phone stopwatch. Or you can buy them a stopwatch if we want to get a little one for them. They would love that. But use your phone stopwatch. Start timing how long things take, okay? Lots and lots of good reasons we want this. But big thing I would recommend is it builds your internal clock. Okay. So, when you tell your kid, give me 5 minutes, I need to finish my phone call. And they're sitting there and they're sitting still for 30 seconds. And they're like, okay, but mom, dad, guys. And you're like, I said 5 minutes. Well, 5 minutes is. This is how you build that in. This is how you get them to understand how long something actually takes. For me, it was really helpful, like just grown-up tips. I would always put off putting away my laundry because, the laundry basket's going to take me too long. I made myself time myself on how long my chores took. And now I cannot lie to myself that I don't have the 10 minutes it takes me to fold a load of laundry. I proved it to myself. It's only 10 minutes. If I got 10 minutes, I got to do it. Okay? Building that clock for our kiddos makes it a lot easier for them to build that patience, build that wait time, to be able to stay focused on something, because 10 minutes really isn't that long. 5 minutes really isn't that long once we really feel it, okay? How long does it take us to do the dishes? How fast can we clean up the table after dinner? We brush our teeth for 2 whole minutes. Timer on there. Sit there for 2 whole minutes, right? And then we can take it a little bit further, build in those estimation skills as well. Do you think it's more than a minute or less than a minute for us to go check the mail? Depends, right? For me, my mailbox goes right into my kitchen counter. So like I'm pouring coffee with one hand, checking the mail with the other. It takes me less than a minute. When I think about where I grew up, my apartment complex where I lived in the box and the mailbox was up at the front, it took more than a minute to get there, right? And so now this gives you conversations. Ooh, grandma lived over there though. She was close to the mailbox. Does grandma take longer than we do? Right? All these things we can talk about. Ways to keep the conversation going, okay? Also, you'll notice a lot of my questions, I say we, I say us. This makes this a part of y'all's lives, okay? It makes it something that is communal. It makes it something that the family does, all right? Kind of normalizes it. If we want to develop it even further, right? Well, things take more than this, less than this. You can also do comparisons. Which TV show takes us longer to watch, right? Maybe one has long episodes, one has short episodes. So you can start to figure out, you can get 2 good episodes in before bed, things like that. The fun suggestion that, of course, the kids are mad I suggested, but put them to work. Put them to work. Math is an everyday thing for all of us because it's baked into what we do every day. So put them to work every day, okay? Setting the table is a really, really good, easy one. You start learning about those 1-to-1 ratios again, right? Everybody needs a plate. Everybody needs a fork. If you want to get fancy with it, maybe you start busting out the tiny forks and the butter knives and the spoons and 2 or 3 fancy, however y'all want to set your table. Those very basics for them. Being able to identify 1 set of dishes for 1 person. The chairs need to be where they need to go. That's a really, really good one. Next one, clipping coupons. If any of y'all do couponing, feel free to get the kids involved. If any of you don't, this is a great way to use up those ads they stick in your mailbox that you are tired of throwing away. Hand them to the kids. What's the most expensive thing you see on that page? What's the cheapest thing you see? Have them start looking at coupons. Is there anything in there that we use? Is there anything in there that you would like? Maybe you find a coupon for your special treat and we can talk about getting it this time. Okay? Things like that. Now, my favorite, we get one of these complex questions here. Okay, what if we have a coupon, but the coupon only works at the store over there? Is it better to go over there and use the coupon or stay close? Well, I love it. And I think some of y'all are okay. I see where you're going. Some of us are like quick with the answers. There's no right answer there. I don't know what you like this. Maybe the store is close enough that you can walk and now you don't have to drive at all. Well, maybe that's a better option for you, for your family, right? Maybe driving over there and using the coupon is better because I really need a break and I want to get out of my house. So that nice long drive is what I'm going to do today. Hey, fair, right? It's fair. These are the kinds of conversations we want. And this is what I mean when I say they don't have to have the right answer. They just have to have a answer. And they can talk about it with you. Because making these kinds of weird decisions, do I go to that store or do I stay at this store? Though that's part of adulthood. That's part of the rationalizing that we have to do. And all of that ties into your budgets, your bills, everything else without even realizing it necessarily. That's why I call it good enough math. Okay? A really fun thing you can do, dump out their toy box. And then tell them to sort it. And that's it. Walk away. No more directions. Hey, put this into 3 groups. Did I tell you how? Did I give you rules? So you're gonna have some kids that start lining everything up by color. Maybe they got red, they got blue, and they got everything else. Maybe you've got a kid that's gonna order it by stuff, little stuff, and everything else, okay? You might have a kid that goes cars, trucks, and everything else. And you know, there's usually a kind of an oddball category there. It's their chance to look and decide what makes the rules. It's their chance to start thinking for themselves. How do these things go together? What patterns am I recognizing here? Okay. I know it's teeny tiny. This is an adult sorting, and adults get really boring categories. They're practical. They're boring. Okay, here's all my Lego. And here's all the cars. And here's all the books. So let your kids pick their own groups because it makes it really interesting. And when you have that conversation, you get to know so much about how they see the world, how they think about things, how their perspective is impacting them. Okay, real quick, does anybody else have any chores at home that you can think of that maybe you could build a mathematical conversation with your kiddo, right? Any chores that y'all do or any activities that you were doing at home? Or if you're not quite sure, we can talk about it and come up with some mathematical discussion for that. So maybe we use them. I don't really get on. I love that. She said they do Fruit Loops because the youngest baby likes texture stuff. She likes touching things. They do Fruit Loops, and she can lace Fruit Loops onto that string. And you could count your Fruit Loops. You could put them in color order. You could sort them. You could make patterns, right? Maybe you make it red and green and blue and red and green and blue. And then you only eat the blue ones off your string. All of these little things, that's math. As much as we don't think about it, geometry is all shapes. And so when you're sitting there with them and you've got your chalk on the sidewalk drawing circles and drawing triangles, you're teaching them geometry. You are introducing them to 10th grade math at that point. Okay? Good. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, some of the more just little things to touch on. Big thing to remember, we talk about mathematical literacy. It's at its heart, it's just literacy. Reading is reading, okay? And we're storytellers. So my favorite thing, I know word problems scare everybody, but this is my big kid math background now, right? A word problem is just a story. I like to bring up the legend of Math Problem Man, right? Everyone has one math problem, at least in high school, that you were like, what is this person doing? They bought 87 watermelons. They went on 2 trains going in different directions. Okay, like they haunt us though because they're stories and we are storytellers and they get stuck in our brains because our brain is going, oh my gosh, this story will help me survive. Okay? So every conversation you can have about numbers is giving your kid access to mathematical literacy and mathematical thinking. Have those conversations, okay? What do you think about this? Ooh, am I driving faster or slower than the speed limit? You see those signs on the side of the road, right? If you've got the kind of car, maybe yours has the big number on the screen or something. We can go high or low for that. But word problems are stories. So if we think about it as a story, make it a little easier to think through, okay? Last little bit, well, a couple little bits here. Let me talk about my triangle here. So this is another one of those teacher things. They teach us this in education world when we're getting our credential. So at the very, very tippy top, they didn't even give me a number, but it's usually given as like roughly 5%. 5% of what I tell you today, 5% of the words coming out of my mouth will stick in your brain. It's good I talk a lot because that means, you know, that's 5% of a lot, but no matter what I'm doing, I could be standing up here dancing for you. 5% sticking in your brain. Reading it. It's a good thing I put it up on the screen, right? Because now you can read it. You got 10% sticking in your brain. It's a good thing Miss Baker printed this out. 10% is going to stick in your brain. Audio visual. That's seeing me. That's the videos. Okay, all the way down. If we want them to actually remember, if we want them to retain the information and keep it moving forward, 90% of it, you need to be able to teach others. Okay, one of my biggest bits of advice here, one of my biggest bits of advice for families and for adults, excellent, okay, is to become the student. So when your kiddo comes home with graded work, okay, graded work, we want to make it a positive experience. So kiddo comes home with a piece of paper, it may have a great grade, it may not have a great grade, but we want to make this positive for now, okay? So you look over at it, you read those questions, you read the work they did, you read the answers they did, and then have a conversation about it. Praise them. Whatever you can find to praise them on, okay? If their handwriting's good, if this answer's good, I'm so proud of your hard work, you wrote so much, right? And then make yourself into a student. I know you know what your second and third graders are doing. Like, I know you know, okay? But just be like, hey, I don't really understand what this is asking. Can you explain it? Give them the chance to be the expert. And if we don't have these kinds of talks too often, it may be a little bit slow going, okay? Don't expect them to be perfect at it either, but ask. And if you keep that conversation open, if you keep those questions going, if you keep giving them opportunities to share what they know with you, it gets easier, it gets better, they'll want to talk about it more. And if you're saying, can you help me understand this? How good do you think kiddo feels? My mom wants my help. My dad needs my help with this. I'm able to do this. All right. And so I say, become a student and then let them teach. Let them talk about it. Let them tell you about it. Let them share their answers, share what their teacher said. Let them get excited about it. Okay. But that's the heart. That's the core. I did not want to get up here and try to get y'all doing the math yourselves, right? I did not want to get up here and go back. We're going to do some algebra. I wanted to help get the conversation started. I wanted to help get y'all building that mathematical thinking, building that mathematical reasoning. But yeah, you don't need to be an expert. If math is something that you were not a big fan of, that was always the hard conversations I'd have at like open house or something, as parents would be like, I like you. I don't like math. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I get it. I know we've all got some bad memories. I know there's a lot of trauma there and anxiety there for people. So you don't have to be the expert. You're part of the team though, and you're a very important part of that team. If we're giving information, they can come home and they can process with you. They can come home and talk with you, answer those questions, have those conversations with you. So just making sure to everybody get a copy of the fridge notes one more time. Like I said, this is a review of the literacy stuff we talked about a few weeks ago, and here is some of the math stuff I left the scripts here for you, kind of set in starters, just so that we'd be able to really get those conversations going. Do we have any questions, comments, concerns, complaints, any issues, anything like that? Wonderful. Okay. Next week we'll have something fun for you. It'll be the last week before spring break. Am I accurate in that, Miss Amber? I believe right next week and then spring break? Yes. Perfect. Time's not real anymore, guys. I'm ready for break, okay? But yeah, we got school for one more week. We got one more parent lab together. We should be doing a little something fun, having a good time. We'll have spring break. We will not have parent lab over spring break. And then we'll come back and we'll have all kinds of fun stuff going on. I'm coordinating with our SEL mental health department to try to get some good stuff coming in for y'all. Get some conversations going there. And then we will be I still have in mind, I know we want to regulate our kiddos' emotions, regulate our emotions, figure out how to kind of deal with those stressful moments together. That is on my agenda for after spring break. Awesome, everybody. We have about 4 minutes before we can start calling kiddos. Please enjoy your lunch, have some more pizza, get some water. Miss Amber's drawing tickets. I got 5 more slices if anybody wants some. And before we go, please just back. Let me know what you think.